Thank you all for joining me today. I have today with me Charmaine Green-Forde with Chapter 2. We met a couple months ago from Molly Lowe and her networking group, and I wanted to bring Charmaine on. She has a business that basically she was working more with the B2B side of consulting with businesses and now has shifted more to helping the employee. So I wanted Charmaine to share a little bit about what she does for my network here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and give us a little bit of information about what you're doing today and who you serve, and we'll talk a little bit about maybe a client success story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jen. And hi, everyone. Really nice to meet you. And thank you for having me. I am Charmaine. I'm the founder and CEO of Chapter 2 LLC. And in a nutshell, we are organizational leadership and talent development consultancy that really has a focus on people. Our motto is actually people first, profits follow. So when we started, we were really focused on the B2B lens and how do we help organizational leaders create not only better and healthier environments, but ultimately better strategies around their people so that that would lead to better business strategies and ultimately better profitability. What has shifted recently within the last several months is, people reaching out individually to say, hey, I'm personally having this challenge at work, and I would love to speak to someone who has the expertise in business and HR strategy and just in general that you do to get basically the insider track on how I should navigate my workplace. And that's something that, because of the need, I decided, let me develop this arm. So still looking for people in that and, clients to reach out specifically around that. But I've already been helping some people, getting a lot of people in the tech industry reaching out in particular too.
Oh, okay, interesting. So, what are some of the things that you're seeing commonly that brought the need on
Mhm.
with the employees more needing help? Like, what's going on in these HR worlds, that realm that you see most commonly? Maybe a couple things that you're seeing that the people really need your help with.
Yeah. So it's actually not just the HR world, it's what's happening in the business world, right? In the last, year plus, 18 months plus, we've been seeing a lot of layoffs at companies across the board, right? And we've been seeing whether it's due to organizational restructuring or lost revenue, whatever it is that's happening. And as a result, people are getting very nervous and anxious about that, right? And the reality is, and I've sat in HR positions enough to know that sometimes when these decisions are made, they're not being made based on what's the best business decision. Sometimes it is, well, we can get rid of X person. And that may relate to something that is a protected class or someone has had experiences at the company that they have voiced concerns about, and now they're finding themselves caught up in something. So that's one thing driving it. The other thing driving it, what I believe is AI, right? Everyone's freaked out about AI. Are they going to get replaced? So wanted to understand what are the things that they can do within their organization? How do they set themselves apart? How do they upskill, reskill? How can they think about their career and the level that they're at right now to pivot if necessary? So for me, I would say those are two of the biggest drivers. And underlying all of that, I really think that what the pandemic has done and everything else around is people want to be more empowered. And really what I want to do is empower people so that they know how to make the decisions for them that work for them.
Definitely. So if somebody is working with you in this realm that you're speaking of, what does that look like? Is it just at least one consultation where they're, talking about their problem? How do you move forward from there as you
Yeah.
further work with someone?
Yeah. So it could be, right? So I've usually what it ends up being is about 3 sessions
Okay.
because I do always want to make space for someone to share what they've experienced, right? But really, what I want to help them do is develop a better strategy around this. So, for example, that may look like the employee who is having some challenges, voicing some concerns, then having medical issues, documenting things within the company, sharing things with HR, but really feeling there's a target on my back. How do I navigate this? And in working with that person, I help them figure out, well, sounds like you're having some health things. How do we get you to take a medical leave of absence if that's the direction that you need to go in to focus on
Okay.
your health? And then because we were able to put some stuff in place because been doing this long enough to know the playbook that the HR is going to use. When I say HR, that's the department, but reality is HR is usually supporting decisions that are made. We're not usually the ones making the decisions, right?
Yes.
So when people
Yes.
say HR hires and fires, I always say I've been in HR, I've sat in HR leadership. I've never hired or fired anyone unless they were directly on my team, right? Our
Yeah.
job is to help support the decisions that the business is making. And hopefully, if you have great HR, that person is assessing and mitigating the risk. So with the client that I'm talking about, helping them understand here are the things to put in place. Here's what you actually need to put in black and white to cover your butt if something were
Yeah.
happening on the line. Here's how you phrase that. No, I know you have some emotional feelings around maybe you don't send the email this way. I'm telling you to write the email this way for a reason, because in my mind, I already know what the legal bells would be and what puts them in a better position. The end of that story is they took the leave for 3 months, getting their health. And then when they came back, they resigned. And because of all the things we had done in place, they negotiated for themselves with my support 8 month severance.
Yes, I remember now that you're saying that you talked about walking them through all of those steps of,
Mhm,
what's going on, what's the problem, how to handle the problem, and how to
mhm.
increase their success.
Yes,
Now that you talk about that severance, that rings a bell from
yes,
before. So that's a really powerful
yeah,
story
mhm.
of being able to be empowered. That's
Yes,
that's
yeah, yeah,
that's a
yeah,
great example right there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so what else are you seeing too with your the consulting side too of,
Yeah,
I know that you're doing both things. So what else
yeah,
do you want to share about the consulting side of helping businesses, that more
yeah,
B2B side, if you
sure.
will?
So I will say that communication and engagement are the top two things that every business leader I have ever spoken to, even for me when I was in corporate America, would experience. And oftentimes there are behavioral patterns underlying why something is not moving through. And because, chapter 2 really focuses on embedding cognitive, emotional, and behavioral intelligence insights into strategy development processes, we're taking a different approach. We're not just saying, here's step A, step B. With partnership with my identical twin sister, Dr. Claire Green-Forde, her background is in human behavior and development. It is in, health equity, you know, learning and development around people and their behaviors. So she's able to take a really intersectional identity approach and lens to it, which helps us enhance what we're able to produce for our clients. So if a leader is saying, look, I am struggling with my team. I don't know what's happening. We're not hitting our numbers. People aren't getting along. The business strategy that we're developing, our 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan isn't working. That's the stuff we want to help with, because what we know for sure is that a better talent strategy, right? So your people strategy will lead to a better business strategy, and a
Yes.
better business strategy will always lead to more profits.
Excellent. You got it. That's great. What else do you want to share about where people can connect with you, and
Yeah,
also
yeah,
who the businesses are, and who the people that you can help the most?
yeah.
Did you say you have a website coming up as
Yes,
well?
yes. So the website is there is ChaptertOO, CHAPTER, two is TOO.com. And that two is intentional. People always say, that the number two? No, TOO means also. So we looked at it as in what's coming in addition, what's coming next to this chapter that you're in. So that was intentional. So ChaptertOO.com. And, info@chapter2.com is the email, so people can reach out if they're interested on the B2C lens. So if there's an employee who's saying, there's some stuff going on at work, I'm not 100% sure, but my spidey senses are tingling, have the call. I promise you it's going to cost you less to speak to us than it would to speak to an attorney. And the other thing that we've been able to do and have helped people with is, and actually had someone reach out the other day to say, thank you, this was helpful, was helping them prepare and know what they needed to do, so that actually when they spoke to the attorney, they told me the attorney told them this was one of the best put together, events history that they'd ever seen. So they were empowered and walked into that meeting knowing what to do and maximizing their time. So that was good. And, so someone's there, or if they want individual coaching, I'm a coach and I do coach. Sometimes people don't want to go through their organizations and they want to get that on their
Yes.
own. So that's one aspect of it there. And another thing that's going to be launching later this year on the B2C lens is negotiation training. I want to teach people how to negotiate effectively, and particularly, women and other marginalized communities. It's definitely open to all, but we have enough stats that show that marginalized communities and women really are the ones who are most disadvantaged when it comes to negotiations. And that's something I feel called to do. So that's the B2C side. On the B2B side, So I was mentioning organizational leaders. I'm having a problem with my talent strategy. Things are not working. Our profits are not where we want them to be. I know for sure, 100% can guarantee you that's a people problem. Because every organization, whether or not they recognize it, is in the business of people. And that's what we have to focus on. We do coaching there as well, the organization, team coaching, group coaching, leadership coaching, individual coaching, whatever it is. And then we also do trainings within the organizations. We have
Okay.
proprietary trainings we've developed, and we're also authorized partners for DIS and Predictive Index to offer their assessments and their training. So that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. You're
yeah,
doing tons of amazing things to empower
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I'm super excited to share this. This will
yeah,
be on my YouTube channel by the end of February, and I really appreciate your time. I
yeah.
also feel that, you help bridge the gap to those attorneys, and if
Yeah,
someone needs an attorney and, at a more affordable rate, I can also help them with that. So I think
exactly.
it's a nice partnership that we have here
It
together.
is.
So it's been
Yeah,
a pleasure learning more
thank
about
you.
you and Chapter 2 today. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you. Thank you. Take care.
thanks everybody for tuning in.